Hello everyone, this is DS Games playing SimCity Cities of Tomorrow, the complete editions. I'm here to update our further progress to the cities, DS cities west and east. We're thinking of developing north soon, but the plan has not been fully materialized. We are still in the thinking process, but we'll see how it goes. But the meantime, we should update on the development for these two cities, east and west, uh, for what we have done so far. If you like what we have been doing for the videos, as well as the development of respective cities, including the SimCity build it, don't forget to give a thumbs up. That's a very good booster for us to do more. If it's possible, kindly please subscribe. Yeah, and don't forget to press the bell to notify any new updates we have. That will be very grateful. Yeah, thanks a lot. Okay, without further ado, let's see what we've been doing. Well, expanding the road infrastructure as we always do. As I mentioned also, for many cities developing games, the roads are very fundamental infrastructure that we must have. Like I think we don't need to mention that again. Yeah. What we want to do is to expand the development further towards this area. Then thereafter, we will move downwards because there is one whole stretch of lands down below this plot. So that's probably where we want to build in the town hall and maybe some of the residential areas, yeah, to give more taxable income. Without that, we can't move forward. Yeah, and not forgetting our commercial. Yeah, it's very fundamental. Industrial, commercial, and residential. A proportion of it, but the bulk of it comes from residential. As you can see, the major part of the land is actually belong to residential. We are now trying to reroute the roads for this industrial area because we are just last development you probably notice is not in good shape. Yeah, so while we are demolishing them, we want to build in the more proper roads. So moving forward, we may be changing it also because we are trying to explore whether this maybe sim cities prefer to be in squarish rather than in curve. A curve may not be efficient for us to build more buildings. Whether is it whichever zone that we're looking at. So at this moment, we are just trying to put it in a more squarish form, leading from the highway into our cities. So you notice that there is still a bend, a curve there. So, but I will just leave it at this first at this moment. Just assure at least there's some industrial going on. Notice that some of the buildings need to be demolished. Actually, as I go along, this game requires us to do so. From time to time, some of the building will be late, will be abandoned. That's where you need to demolish them. Of course, after demolishing, then they will reconstruct again. But I think if you don't demolish them, they will affect the populations. Well, in a way that I think you and I do not want to live in an area that too many abandoned buildings, right? So more people will abandon it, and then it make the whole zone, whole district look worse. So you need to demolish them and then let them reconstruct again. Okay, let's finish off this band first. This band may looks unnecessary, but at least let's put it in first. Yeah, just remain the structure as it is, because we also need more industrial zone. So while we are doing it, we bring in more industrial zone. Oops, what happened? Wow, we got 23 criminals committed. Wow, there are so many criminals at large. What happened? We don't have police force in place. Looks like we better put some there. Let's construct one. Let's see, just to bring those criminals into prison. Actually, yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier in my last videos. Because some of these utilities must be there. Utilities including, well, that's basic utilities including electricity. All those are fundamental. So the service utilities such as medical, fire, and police, like we play SimCity built it, have to be there. It's one of the criteria. Without them, some of this problem will slowly, progressively shows up. So when it shows up, you need some time to recover. So that's what happened when I didn't build the police earlier. So now there are quite a number of criminals at large. So again, we got to put in the police stations. So yeah, another interesting things about, well, I think I mentioned before. So you can actually expand your buildings, like put in more prisoners, and then like the schools, right? We did. It's something very interesting. So okay, with the police stations constructed, we need to give some time for them to catch the thief. You don't just immediately goes back to the prison, right? Yeah, that's what happened when we didn't do it earlier. If we construct the police station earlier, this thing will not be this problem will not be arise. But of course, likewise, the budget is the constraint, so you can't be building all utilities at one go. So it's actually that's what I always do, let the problem rise, then we sort it out. Even though we know that it may take some time, but that's part and parcel of playing the games. Oh yes, if you guys who have watched my last video on this SimCity 2013 City of Tomorrow's the complete versions, you probably would have noticed or recall that we last closed the videos after seeing that there is quite a number of electricity issues. I mean power issues. We sorted out and settled, in a way that we just built in 2 more power plant to construct more electricity, of course. But again, after constructing it, it takes some time for the issue to arise. So that's here you can see we have two plant as compared to earlier only 1 plant with the wind turbine. Earlier on is only 1 because this is insufficient power, so we need to build another one to let the power electricity be able to supply. Nothing fanciful. That's why we didn't want to, while we are playing, we didn't show it. In a way, it's a small issue. But of course, if we didn't sort it out earlier, it will go into because all your residents will run away without the power. That's become a big issue. Definitely. Okay, so back to this development. You saw just now we extend our industrial to have more industrial income. And you can see that the problem starts resolving itself. We have lesser crimes committed per day, and most of it has been in prisons. I mean, caught and in prisons. Your advisor will raise the most pressing concerns. This list indicates the total happiness for R, C, and I. R for residents, C for commercial, and I for industrial, definitely. So this shows the wealth, the happiness. And those in rates probably have to look after, sort it out. Now you can see each residential wealth level, clear about what they live, where they live. Your approval rate is the best way to tell how well you are doing at keeping your city happy. Keep your Sims happy enough to earn modules for your major mansions. So that's major mansion, that's my house, right? Yeah. I haven't even constructed. But we'll build the town hall first. Here we can see the power in excess is just slightly going to the green. That's also explained. I have just put in the wind turbine, so it may take some time to produce the kind of electricity that have in excess much into the green. So we have to wait for a while. Next, I would want to expand a little bit on the fire stations because the area is getting bigger. It's kind of unsafe to have just one fire station. Maybe we will build one into the residential rather than the industrial. Because not forgetting the industrial, we can always expand by building more. I think firehouse or something like that. See, true enough, the fire station went into a slightly orange on the taskbar, so the meaning that there are potentially some issues there. After a while, you can anticipate. But not forgetting, the cash is a constraint, so you will keep on eating into your cash if you're not receiving enough income to invest into the development. So after a while, I'm quite concerned because the cash is dropping, but my income is not increasing sufficiently. Whatever it is, let's do what we need first at this moment. Yes, I think that's a better place to pop the fire station. Oh, by the way, this is the control net. Control net is more for Omega. So you notice that I built in the Omega before building the the Academy. So I don't think this Omega control net is functioning at this moment. But of course, the reasons why I didn't build in the Academy for the research. It's all because the cash is running low, so I just have to be careful as in what to spend on. Spend on the important thing first, of course. So okay, second fire station is constructed, which is within the residential zone. I think it's safer because I have one servicing the industrial, the other one servicing this residential zone. Even though it's towards the other side, but as far as it's within the distance, so things should be fine with that. Okay, here we trying to extend the road structure, the road infrastructure further upwards. We will need to bring the road structure further up towards the end of this high hill. Because that's where we intend to construct the town hall. one thing at a time. It seems like we have these health issues. Actually, that's the problem. While you're expanding your city, this health, fire, police services need to increase. We won't know where is the equilibrium point, so we have to grow as you construct. So that's the rule of the game. Enjoying the scenery suddenly, not really suddenly. Sometimes while we are constructing, from time to time we actually take the eagle view, from rather a drone view, looking at the top. Actually quite enjoying. I actually wanted to construct in another roads infrastructure down this slope to give another access from the industrial to the residential or vice versa, whichever way we're looking at. Because we are currently just relying on the other side of the road, which is, not so ideal. Because anyway, there's a slope here, so we also can make good use of it. On the slope itself, we also can construct some buildings, so we need the road anyway. The other thing, I think the other problem with SimCity is, you can't really construct a Y junction, because I don't really like a T junction. In a way, vehicles got to turn left and turn right in the traffic. Whereas if it's a Y junction, then the vehicles can actually, for example, in this case, we want to want to go straight and turn right. You don't need to stop, or from the other side down to this slope. You can also follow through without a traffic junction, because traffic junction will slow down the traffic, which is also not ideal. But no choice, we have to build it at T junction. This is the first Omega factory we created. Omegaco factory. Yeah. Then we got to put in the construct additional Omega production line to enhance our production. With Omegaco factory constructed, we can put in the extraction pod. The extraction pod can extract raw oil and crude oil at the same time. It is inefficient and test subjects reports a strange disaster. This must be a taste of progress. So with Omegaco factories, we can use the extraction pods to extract raw oil and crude oil at the same time, which is ideal form of manufacturing and extraction, or rather extraction and manufacturing. So let's complete these roads, which we need to figure out where we need to put where are the oil and the crude oil. So the black, when the darker the black, the more the crude oil. So the grey means lesser, greyish means lesser. So we got to construct somewhere near there. I think this is not an ideal location. because the factory, the plant is in the black, so we may need to relocate it, or rather demolish and reconstruct a new one, because SimCity don't allow you to relocate. So you see the production plant itself, the extraction plant itself is actually inside the the black color, which is quite a waste of resources. So you probably got to put outside. At the same time, well, whatever it is, we just leave it at this, even though that it's not correctly constructed. Oil pump jack. Let's put in one more. We can extend the roads. The third road as long as you want, to whichever area that are crude oil minerals inside under the land. So progressively we'll see. Well, with the construction of the extraction of the crude oil, you need to put in the trade hub, because that's where we start trading with our raw materials, natural resources, whether is it crude oil, ore, alloys, all these minerals, natural resources. We'll be trading through this trade hub. So we need to have one before they can start trading. Okay, and next, the ore mine, which is the brown color. Similarly, the darker brown means more. You can see there's quite more, higher tons of extraction as compared to a lighter brown. Yeah, listen to that music. Somehow I find it quite inspiring. It's actually quite nice music actually. Okay, with that construction, we probably have to let them develop for a while, because we are now running into negative income. So even though we have our population increased to 9,000 plus, we may need to give some time for them to increase their income now. Increase their net income before we can do anything else. Likewise, the Omega factory says they need OC. So while the OC mills that we were constructed is just newly constructed, you still need time to hire the workers. So you may need time to increase. So with that, we want to spend some time on another plot of land, the West Zone, or SimCity West, to start developing the West area, because we need all the three plots, meaning the East, West, and North, to be able to generate some of the requirements before we can develop the centerpiece, as we mentioned in our video last week. So here we want to develop into a tourist industrial zone, even with that, we still need the fundamentals. That including the zoning of residential, commercial, and industrial. So let's try using square construction. I mean road infrastructure to see how we can enhance our efficiency in the population and the building. I mean the residential building to industrial building. Right here we are stretching both directions towards the seashore. One with the intention to construct our landmark and cultural landmark towards nearer to the sea, to have better views. So from the highway, we have zoned our residential and commercial and industrial accordingly with the respective road infrastructure. In this case, we are drafting the high density road structure. In this case, we zone the industrial area nearer to the highway because any lorries or trucks can direct access to the highway without a need to go into residential, which will add on traffic jam if that was the case. So it's actually a better idea to zone residential after the highway. That's what I did now. I tend to put commercial on the area which is direct access from the main road, which to me I think is making more sense because commercial need to service both industrial as well as residential. So by putting it direct access, it will help the traffic and also help the development of the commercial. Likewise, next item will be water supply. So we got to build in the water pump stations, similarly to what we did into the east. What we want to try for now is actually the electricity. Understands that we can actually buy from our neighboring, I mean in this case our DS cities west. So buying from them directly helps our cost. as we are industrializing the east city east, it should be producing more electricity than it's using itself. So I think it's actually a good idea to buy the electricity from the east to this west. In a sense, we don't need so much of a power plant for these west cities, as we intend to develop these cities into a tourist zone. So buying is actually another plus point of SimCity, that you can actually play around with all these utilities that you can buying and using around from other cities and selling to other cities. So let's make good use of this. Okay, we should be extending the roads further nearer to the sea, so that we can choose some of the landmark as a tourist point to be constructed nearer to the sea, which use it to extract tourists, of course. Okay, let's see. Hmm, Big Ben, Airfield Tower. Okay, maybe let's choose a cheaper one first. We are running out of budget now. Yeah. Of course, the Eiffel Tower is definitely very nice to have. Too costly to build at this junction. Of course, we have close to 900,000 similons. We can afford only have one more, because most of the important landmark is actually about 550k. So this release tower is already 140k. So maybe we'll build the release tower later, even though it's slightly cheaper. So I'm more interested to save some cost at this moment. So this Belgium Cinquantennial arc is more advisable to construct at this moment. It's cheaper, right? Expenses is 250 an hour. We can extract 175 tourists at one junction. Immediately only spend money already. I think we will construct this Berlin, Germany Brandenburg Gate. This Brandenburg Gate is $450. It's 450 similons per hour, attracting 275 tourists. So cost does matter. Okay, it says high tourist demand. What should I do next? We may need to expand our mass rapid options to serve more tourists. Okay, let's move on to our east cities while waiting for them to grow. And, we did a few things. So in this case, that's why we see some major development here. But some of these buildings upgraded because of the road that we upgrade. Like for example, some of these commercial buildings. The tall commercial buildings, they were upgraded because of the road that we upgrade. The density increase, so the buildings also increase. Okay, so we constructed the academy, the Omega HQ. So we with the additional income that we accumulated, we also shifted some of our power plant. Initially, we have 4 towards the highway. We demolished, sorry, 2 in the highway. We demolished 1, and we built 1 on the uphill here, with a bigger space to build more bigger wind turbine. Mega factory. We also built in 1 more factory line to increase its production. With a bigger wind turbine, in this case 4, we have quite a lot of power we access. That's why we can sell to our neighboring cities, City West. And we also constructed the college, building in more classrooms so that we can support more citizens. In this case, we have 17,000 already. So the school, the graded schools is also there to educate, to go up the educational cycle. I mean ladder, like I said. Very soon we'll be constructing our first university, probably over to the right hand side. We also constructed the bigger water pumping stations to be able to have a bigger capacity as compared to the only 2 hydropower. We also built the recycling center to help the waste management systems. Omega, not enough Omega, abandoned buildings. We see quite a number of them. This mainly because we do not have, means our Omega is not functioning efficiently. Mainly due to cash constraint. I mean, Smilon's constraint. I can't construct some of the required buildings, so we may need to hold on for a while. To at least allow money Similons to fill in, to flow in. So let's go back to the City West to see some of the updates that we've done. Constructed the tram stations, as you can see, to enable tourists to travel using the tram. Next, we're thinking to construct ferries, a cruise at the ferry terminal. So we extend the road towards this side of the seashore. I think call it a beach better. Seaside beach, whichever you call it. So we're going to extend it towards the side during the ferry terminal. So we pop it in. Yes. Hopefully we can enhance the tourists without much problems. Next, we still got to build in the complete with the roads, the road infrastructure to join them up. With this ferry terminal, we probably also need to construct the train station Then after that, we want to construct the mega tower to enhance, to bring it to another level. But I think the cost is actually a main problem. We don't have enough money to do that. So we may need to to call for bonds to. Anyway, government bonds are quite normal things. Call for bonds to do our construction. We see how things move. The ferry terminal already have the passenger ferry dock. Next, we may as well put in the cruise ship dock. I think as we expand, they may allow us to increase our capacity. But at this moment, we're probably allowed to do some of the minimum things. Okay, here you go. Cruise ship dock constructed as well. So next item on the list, the train station. We should be more efficient to construct the entry point here, since it's already there. So we wouldn't want to waste too much money to bring it in, and then no point actually. So since this is the access point, this is the entry point, we just construct at it is. German high-speed rail station. Kind of expensive, even though it's actually nice to have. Maybe later. Which direction should you face? Maybe we try constructing a simple railway track just to see how that should face. Oh, I see. Okay, that's the road. Yeah. I mean that's the rail. That's the railway track. Sorry. So that means we may need to take out some of the roads, demolish some of the roads, just to give way to the facing of the railway station. Because you need to stick to the roads. As mentioned just now, we may need to call for bonds. So let's try one. And still got quite a number of things to do to expand further. In this case, let's look at our east first. The commercial buildings has further upgraded themselves, which is a good news. playing these games, it's actually quite normal that you run out of money. So I think what's more important is as long as we have positive income, we have to let it, let the game play itself. Meaning we have to wait that the income fall. I mean the income flows in, then we have accumulated enough money, then we can start our constructions. But in this case,
Pippity oop my tear.
so once we have enough money, we upgrade the roads. Upgrade the roads to increase the density, increase the density, then increase the building, therefore increase the income. So with 2139 per hour of positive income, we a lot of times we let it speed run a bit so that we can have enough accumulated income to do more things. What's important is to monitor and ensure it don't flow into a negative. Sometimes it flow into a negative because your citizens abandon the building, you see. So you have to quickly, in this case, to demolish those abandoned buildings before it gets worse. Hey, this angle is nice. I like that. Now 90 of 1045 garbage cans collected per day. 659 of 762 recycling bins collected per day. Plastic storage seems coming full already. It has close to 4,000 crates. Recyclable still okay. How can I increase the capacity for the plastic storage? Look at the face, it's not happy, man. have 2,215 barrels a day. Crude oil storage is quite sufficient, 63 of the 2,000 barrels of crude oil storage. So, unlike the plastics, I think it's more to do with the use of the plastics in these cities. They're resulting the storage full because it's not using it, so it's inside the storage. That can be let's see how we can sell or use it internally. Storage, we have quite sufficient storage. So what went wrong? Can't sell plastic. The oil well is drilling 265,000 barrels a day. It's refining 0 barrels. The plastic is 4,800 cranes per day. This is not refining any plastics, so we are not using the plastics. So how do I make sure they use the plastics? Interesting. Refining division. Petroleum is not only good for crude oil, you can refine the crude oil into fewer plastics. Diversifying into other resources can help you weather the ups and downs of global markets. So that means I need the refining divisions, but it's costing 400,000. Wow, don't have the kind of money. Just got to wait and see. Omega demand is high, but current production rate cannot meet industrial needs. Additional Omega factory or Omega production line will increase production rates. And this again need money. We can't increase the production line because of we only have 4,000 plus similons. Not enough. Let's take a look at our west. We have earlier put in constructed 2 Omega towers, and also the hot air balloon flyer. I think that's not new thing to you guys, right? Airship hangar to be exact. We saw that in City Built It. Yeah. SimCity actually play around with different applications, but they are the same. You can see that we are left with 47,000 similons. So earlier we have borrow money. We issue bond. So we issue all the 3 bonds, $100,000, 100,000 each. So we still have outstanding bonds to repay. You probably also noticed that we increased the tax to 20%. Sometimes we don't have it's inevitable, so we just have to monitor further to make sure the citizens when they left abandon the building, we need to quickly go and demolish it. You saw also just now, it's also, it says an insufficient control net, so we also need to look after that. But at this moment, some health issue, so let's solve this health issue first. Okay, done. I think that should be sufficient at this moment tentatively. Seven out of 14 injured treated per day. 21 out of 41 sick person treated per day. Important is the capacity. I think that should settle it. Let's take a look at the second tower. Built quite a number of apartments. The top level is still insufficient control net. Actually, ideally I'm looking at building maybe 6 or 8 of such towers, but it's very costly, and so it takes time to build up. But regardless, I have linked up these two towers using the Clang and the Sky Bridge. So let's pop in the canopy first. Then we will put in the control net. Okay, let's close the gap for this two area of road structure, linking them up. Alright, thank you guys for watching till the end. Appreciate a lot. So your support will definitely boosts me to do more and to see how we can develop this city forward, to expand it more. So I need you guys to support it. If not, it's very difficult to move on. So likewise, if you like what we have been doing for all the video that we created, please give a thumb up. At the same time, if possible, please subscribe and ring the bell so that you can receive a notification of any new updates, which I always have been doing for every 4 days, updating different aspect of it. Thanks. See you. Bye.